Wednesday. I think it's July the 15th. But lake level is right at 927 and a half. It's crested probably last Saturday or Sunday. The lake is pretty much in real good shape. I've been fishing, up in the river arms, and most of the water that was real muddy up there has kind of come down lake and dispersed. A lot of the lake's got real good color. There's still quite a little bit of debris, but if you just kind of keep an eye out, just be careful. There's no problem navigating around the lake. The fishing has been phenomenal. I've mainly been fishing from Kimberling City up to White River, and from Kimberling City up into James River. And there's been a lot of us up there. A lot of the guides have been up there because that's where the fishing's been so good. We've been bringing a lot of our clients up there. But if you'd like to throw a deep diving crankbait, there's so many different things to do. But deep diving crankbait and jig right now, it's just been awesome. There's so much current in the lake. What we're fishing is kind of what we call current points. And the fish aren't everywhere. Whenever you find them, they'll be grouped up in an area, probably 2 or 3 boat lengths. And a lot of times, it's cast after cast. We've had, this past week, several times where you've got 4 or 5 fish in back-to-back cast. We've had several fish, doubles on the crankbait, one on the front hook, one on the back hook. We've been catching them on drop shots, and even some trips where I've had some young kids. The drop shot bite has been real light, so what I do a lot of times is I'll rig them up a night crawler instead of a drop shot so they can feel it. But once they get the bite figured out, then you can catch them on a 4-inch worm. And most of these fish aren't any deeper than 18 to 23 feet. Most of the places I'm fishing is main lake points. Like I say, places that's currents coming across, close to bluff ends where I got deep water real close. But 2 of the worms that have been working the best for me on the drop shot is a 4-inch chompers, brown purple lamb, and then I've got a buddy that hand pours these for me. It's a plum, kind of a spade tail. Now the guy that makes these, his name and address, it's Mike Knight, and the information's on my website. And he'll make these up for you or different colors. And what he does is he donates all the money to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Now, if you want them in a hurry, sometimes you have to wait till he's got time to make them. And what he doesn't have a set price. He makes the baits that you want, and you just make a donation to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which is a great deal. Everybody advantages on it. But on the jig now, I've been catching some on a Carolina rig and some on a football jig, and I've been throwing. I'll show you the jigs. I'm throwing 3 different jigs, and the difference in why I'm throwing 3, with the water up, 12 feet high, and we're only fishing anywhere from 8 to 15 foot. A lot of the places I'm fishing, there's new flooded green bushes in the water. So as most of you know, a football jig doesn't do real good in the bushes. If I'm fishing out in the open water, a 1/2 ounce or 5/8 football jig's been working good. A lot of different colors, brown and orange, green pumpkin purple been working good. Now, one that I'm throwing probably more than anything, it's a Strike King structure jig. And if you'll notice, it's got like a pointed head on it, almost like a Texas rig bullet weight. Comes through the brush real good, comes through the rock real good, so I can throw it up there in that cover, work it through it without getting hung up like you do on a football jig. And what I've got it tipped with is a Rage Craw, Strike King Rage Craw. Now the other one I'm throwing is a Snowden jig that Pig Sticker makes, and it'll come through the brush real well. And I'm throwing a 7/16 ounce. This color I've got here is called a California 420. And something we've kind of figured out in the last couple days, instead of fishing the jig real slow, what we've been doing to get the bites, and we kind of picked up on this. One of my clients got a couple bites as he was reeling the jig in to make another cast. So what we started doing is we call it stroking the jig. Cast it out there, let it go to bottom. Instead of working it real slow, we'll rip it real hard, 3, 4, 5 feet and move the bait. Reel the slack up, let it go down the bottom, pop it again. And what's pretty neat when you get a bite like that, it's kind of like fishing a flutter spoon. They knock the heck out of it. And if they miss it the first time, I mean, they're getting it real good the second time. Now, in them same areas, throwing a crankbait a bunch. And I probably showed you this crankbait last week, but I haven't had any reason to change it. We've been throwing the same colors pretty much. I've been throwing a 6XD Strike King. I'm sure they'll buy a fat-free shad, a DD22. But this one, we've been having so much success with it. And I'm throwing it some of my people that can't throw a bait caster, I've got them throwing a 5XD, the same color on a spinning rod on 8 or 10 pound line. Now I'm throwing this on 10 pound fluorocarbon. I've got a 7.5 foot medium heavy luge rod with the BB1 Pro Series reel. And the reason I use the long rod is so that I can make a really long cast. The rod's pretty forgiving. It's a pretty limber rod. So you know, if the fish makes a hard run, you don't have to worry about the bait coming unhooked. But like I was saying earlier, we've had a lot of times in the last 3-4 days where the fish have been so aggressive. You'll have one on the front hook, one on the back hook. Now, we've been catching, 30, 40 fish in half a day, and probably about 25% or so of those have been keepers. If you catch 40 fish, you might have anywhere from 8 to 12 keepers on it. And a lot of smallmouths and Kentuckys. I really haven't found the largemouths. We're only catching, 2 or 3 largemouth a day. A lot of the largemouth may be way back up in the cover, the newly flooded cover, but some of it is so thick it's hard to get back in there to get shallow enough to flip. But we are catching a few decent largemouth, but like I said, primarily smallmouth and Kentuckys. Now, I don't know what the bite's been like down in the dam area. Fixing to find out. I've got a couple trips down there tomorrow. But what I have found, right now, Kimberling City area's got about the dirtiest water, because all the water that was real dirty up in the James and up in the White River, they've been generating so much water that color has moved down. But I'm pretty sure that if you get into clear water, the bite's not going to be near as good. So if you're up there in that clear water struggling, I would head towards Kimberling City or White River or the James or Long Creek. Get into that stained water. The drop shot fish are 18 to, like I say, 23 feet deep. A lot of the crankbait fish, they're actually suspended. So on the crankbait retrieve, what I'm doing is we're cranking it down real fast to start with, and then a stop and go retrieve all the way back. The crankbait does not have to be hitting bottom. Some of them fish are out there, 12 to 15 foot deep, over 20. And that's a lot of the ones that we're catching on the crankbait. And I don't see anything changing other than the color of the lake, moving from one end to the other as they generate water. We're going to have, right now the current and the bait fish has been the key. And we're going to have, I would think, a lot of current for the next couple weeks, because as high as all the lakes are, as they try to get them down. So, till next week, good luck, good fishing.